But, Mark, let's end the podcast like we have been for the last week. Now that the playoffs are here, we only get 4 games. This is the last week where we'll have 4 games. Yeah. The next week we'll have 2 games. And then the week after that we'll have
0
games because the Pro Bowl.
It's not a real game.
Then we'll have 1 game.
We can preview the dodgeball match.
Do they still do that?
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
Year 2.
Even if it's NFC, AFC?
They've only ever done it when it's AFC.
Okay, NFC. I thought they did it when it was the fantasy draft.
Last year was the first year they did the dodgeball tournament.
Okay, I didn't watch it. I'll be completely honest. Didn't watch the Pro Bowl last year.
I didn't watch the Pro Bowl, but I watched the dodgeball.
The one thing
game. That was great.
The one thing I always find funny is my last girlfriend. So my last ex-girlfriend. I remember this had to be like 2012. I remember she was going to be in the fantasy football league.
It needs to be said, though, you don't need to say last ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, I know.
That's what ex means.
Well, I have a lot of ex-girlfriends. It could have been the first one. But the last girlfriend I had was, I remember chuckling a little bit because she wanted to be in the fantasy league before we broke up. And she was watching the Pro Bowl taking notes on who she should draft. And I'm sitting there going, oh, that's cute. You don't watch the Pro Bowl for that. You don't watch the Pro. And I remember her going, that Kyle Rudolph is really good. I'm going to draft him. I was like, okay, we'll see.
Have fun with it.
We'll see. You can take Kyle Rudolph if you want. Although, I heard something about Kyle Rudolph in the last 2 seasons. The only other tight end to have more touchdowns than him is Gronk. And it's only 2 or 3 touchdowns. Maybe 4 touchdowns more. He has 50 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, where else
2 seasons.
Where else were you going to throw the ball?
Stephon Diggs and Thielen.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about the last 2 seasons?
Yeah, that was this year's one of them.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Kyle Rudolph has been the safety blanket. However, we're previewing games. We'll get to that Viking team, but how we're going to do it is we'll go right through the order that we will see them. The first one we'll preview, the one that will probably be, I'm saying it's going to be the joke, hashtag joke of the week. The Falcons at 10-6, they're the 3-point favorite over the home team, 13-3 Philadelphia Eagles. Mark, what are you thinking from this game?
The problem is the Eagles just don't have much of an offense right now. With Carson Wentz not being there, it's just nobody's showing up to play offense anymore. And as much as we all love Nick Foles here in Most Valuable Podcasts, he is just as good as Peyton Manning.
Even better. Could be even better.
Could be even better if he throws 8 touchdowns in this game. I just have no reason to believe that Atlanta's not going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Wentz got injured, you played 3 games, and it was, you scored 34 points, but it was against the Giants. They've basically given up on the world this season by that point. Then the Raiders, they have a pretty tough defense, and you only scored 19. But then Dallas, who is probably the best of those 3, with Zeke back, and you don't get any points. I know your defense holds them to 6, however, you don't, and I know Nick Foles didn't play in that one. I think that was Nate Sutfeld, who played that game, who used to be a Minnesota Viking for a little bit. However,
fun fact,
I just think this game, the Falcons looked really good against the Rams.
Yeah.
To where I think that they're going to carry over momentum to where the Eagles, this Eagle team, because they don't have Carson Wentz, probably would have benefited from playing the wild card. Because then they could get a win, then carry some momentum in.
No, they would have been one and done.
This Falcon train is already moving. And like you mentioned before we started recording this segment, it was like, wow, it's a shame that the Falcons are just going to get an easy road right to the NFC title game.
Yeah.
Maybe even the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, this is the momentum they need. I mean, to be honest, it reminds me of the Green Bay Packers when they won their Super Bowl.
As the last wild card team to do it.
Yeah, and just drive their way straight through, keep building momentum, keep feeling good about yourself. Got a nice quarterback who's going all in, got a good run game. This defense in Atlanta is pretty good. I like everything about this team for the most part. When this team is on, they're on. The problem, of course, long term, and this won't necessarily be a Philadelphia issue, is I think that the offense is a little bland and predictable. And I think that'll be their undoing when they play, if they play a Minnesota Vikings or something like that.
Well, I'm going to add a little curveball at you. Not just make your pick, but make your pick and give us a score.
Sure. It's going to be the Falcons at 27 and the Eagles 10.
I'm going to say 28-13. That's what I'm going to go with. Falcons 28-13. They go ahead and get the win. I'll give the Eagles a 13th spot, but the Falcons going to win by big here. Then the other game, which Saturday could be the blowout games. The nightcapper for Saturday will be the Tennessee Titans at 9-7 playing the New England Patriots. The Patriots are almost a 2-touchdown favorite at 13.5. What are you thinking from this one? The Titans and the Pats.
I mean, this is going to be a dangerous game, right? You got a team in the Titans that the defensive backs, it's a little questionable for them. And you got Tom Brady on the other side. I really think Tom Brady's just going to pick apart this offense. This defense. He's going to have no problem doing it. Now, I do think that Derrick Henry can make an impact in this game for sure. But the rest of the offense is not much of anything to get that excited about. You know, maybe Mariota will throw the ball to himself again, and that'll be fun to watch. But
that
only
was awesome.
Only
that
in
was
highlights.
Awesome.
You know, if I never even looked further into it. If the rumors were true that Mariota was calling the plays himself,
was he?
That's what people were saying. I think it was after the first quarter that he just was calling plays himself.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't really know. That's just what people were talking about. So it'll be interesting to see, does he keep doing that or not? The unfortunate thing I think that the Tennessee fans out there are feeling is that Malarkey is going to be back now. You know, they're not going to fire their coach, which is kind of what they were hoping for, it seemed like. I know there was a lot of hope for the Josh McDaniels connection to help Mariota. I just think that Tom Brady's going to tear this team apart is really what it comes down to.
Yeah, this one, I think, like I said, the Saturday games, I think, are blowouts. I think that it's going to be, Saturday is very underwhelming. Sunday, I think, is going to be amazing. And like this one, I'll go first. I'm going to say Patriots 35-10, maybe 35-7. I don't think it's going to, 35-10. We'll go 35-10. I think that the offense blows the door off everything, and the Patriots defense, yeah, they're not like a big, like, threatening defense, but I think they'll have no problem beating the Titans, who will basically be shut down early in this one and basically be like, well, we showed up. It was nice. How about you?
Like I said, I think Tom Brady's going to destroy this defense. But I'm going to give, Derrick Henry some respect here. I'm thinking 42-17.
Okay.
I mean, Tom Brady just lights it up. But Tennessee, they'll make some noise every now and then.
What about the Sunday games? The next one, we've got the Jaguars going into Pittsburgh. Last time these two teams played, the Jaguars got the win week 5, 30-9. Big Ben threw 5 picks. What are you thinking coming into Jaguars and Steelers?
Do you think by any chance that they're picking up the phone in Jacksonville and calling anybody, any quarterback that doesn't have a job right now and saying, hey, what have you been up to lately? You think you can learn our playbook in the next week?
Blake Bortles, he had more rushing yards than passing yards?
Yeah, way more. Definitely his... I mean, and it was like a first half thing. I mean, he did nothing in the first half, and then the second half he was just like, well, can't throw the ball. I guess I'll just run it.
I'll be honest, ever since week 13, they've only scored over 10 points twice.
Yeah, it's
They've scored... I'm sorry, I was looking wrong. Ever since... the last 2 games, ever since week 15, they've only scored over 10 points once. That's what I was reading the win losses wrong.
But at the same time, this Jacksonville defense is fucking amazing, and that's what just keeps them in. This is going to be a low scoring matchup to me, and part of it's because Jacksonville can't do anything. But then the other side is that the Jacksonville defense is so good that Pittsburgh's going to have trouble doing anything. So. If you like defense, you'll like this game, but you're going to have to sit there and watch Blake Bortles be bad as well.
Give your prediction before I give mine, because this is one...
Pittsburgh's going to win.
This is one to me where the defenses will shine. Yes, the Pittsburgh offense is better than the Jaguar offense. However, it's going to be whichever defense can make more plays. The thing that I think will hurt the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is they've looked like a completely different defense after the Ryan Shazier injury.
Sure.
And that, I think, will hold them back a little bit.
But it doesn't matter. What's Blake Bortles going to do?
What's your prediction? Who you got?
Well, it's going to be Pittsburgh, and it's going to...
Going against your full Super Bowl. You picked the Jaguars when we did the full bracket.
Yeah, but...
But then the wild card happened.
Then I watched Blake Bortles play in the wild card, and I thought he could do enough, and I was proven wrong. 14-6.
I'm going to go on a similar note. I'm going to say 17-13 Jaguars. And that's going against my original...
Do you think that some points are going to get scored? That's interesting.
Well, I said the Steelers... remember when you go back to my Super Bowl prediction, I said, well, it's easy. Patriots, Steelers, don't even say anything else because it's a walk in the park.
Well, conference, yeah.
What I think is going to happen is I think this Steeler offense is going to get stopped a few times by this Jaguar defense.
Oh, for sure.
And what I think will happen is Leonard Fournette will pick it up a little bit. They will score a little bit more than they did in the last one, 17-13. Jaguars get the victory and will play the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. Let's move on to the last game. And this is me not just saying this because the Vikings are in this game, but this will be the best game of the week. Book it. This will be the most exciting game from beginning to end. And this will be the game we are talking about next week on the podcast. Like, oh my God, this was amazing.
I mean, that you're basically being like, all right, we got these movies you can watch. One directed by Steven Spielberg. The other one, a bunch of second graders. Have fun. Which one do you want to watch? Like, these are not comparisons.
So you're telling me Steven Spielberg classic, Adam Sandler newer movie.
Yeah,
not like Happy Gilmore, newer movie.
Essentially. And it's, I mean... They're not even on the same page here. I mean, this is a great matchup. You have one of the best defenses, if not the best defense, in Minnesota, with a team that scores quite a few points. Then you have one of the highest scoring teams with another defense that doesn't let teams score that much. It's kind of cool where you'll have one of the best, and then just really good as well. So this is going to be really interesting to see. I don't think, and I know you, Ricky, love to say, oh, well, we beat the Saints.
It's completely different. It was week one.
Completely different. This is a different team. This is a different game. This is going to be interesting. The thing I will say, if we are to see Drew Brees, the guy who we just saw destroy, well, I shouldn't say destroy because it was a close game, but Drew Brees himself was near flawless against the Carolina Panthers. If we see that Drew Brees come out here and play against the Minnesota Vikings, I really don't care how good that defense is. Like I said, he was near flawless in that game, where he will make this great defense look average.
Not a chance.
You're a fan.
Well, no,
you're a fan.
I'm not speaking as a fan. Here's what, and this was my thoughts.
Don't disrespect Drew Brees.
No. This was my thoughts after the Panther game. That whole game, I was rooting for the Panthers. Didn't want to see the Saints.
Well, you got to claw up.
Mainly because, like, I told Brandon, and part of this is a joke, so don't take it really serious. I shouldn't even joke. I'm not going to make the joke. Executive decision, I'm not going to make the joke. Basically, the joke was going to be, I'm going to be really, really sad if the Vikings lose to the Saints yet again in the playoffs if we lose to the Saints. Not going to say what the joke I was going to make. It'd be too insensitive. However, my thoughts after that Panther game was, all right, the Panther defense shut down the Saints rushing attack. Check, we could do that. However, the Panthers offense couldn't do anything. Why couldn't they do anything? First off, their rushing attack isn't that special. Check, ours is better. Then, oh, wait, they don't have any wide receivers besides Olsen and Devin Funchess. Check, we've got better receivers. So to me, the reason why the Panthers lost, well, if we're going microcosm, it was that dropped pass in the end zone in the first quarter. But the Panthers didn't win because the only way the Panthers were going to win is if Cam Newton willed them to a victory. That wasn't going to happen. The Vikings are a more complete team. We have a better rushing attack. We have better receivers. Case Keenum's a quarterback that doesn't usually turn the ball over. Great recipe for success. Drew Brees is great. Drew Brees' offense is better. I was completely shocked that Ted Ginn caught that 80-yard pass because usually that goes whoop right between his hands and onto the turf. But if this Viking defense shuts down the run like the Panthers defense did last week, I don't think Drew Brees is going to be able to do it all himself. This game will be the closest of any of the games. I think it will be decided on a fourth quarter field goal.
Which I'm will going be missed.
Vikings 27-24.
I do want to point out, however, because it's fun, that your running game is not better, actually, than the Carolina Panthers. Statistically, they have a better running game than you, but that's because of Cam Newton.
No, I'm talking about
the running backs.
The running backs is what I'm saying.
I just wanted to point out because it's fun.
Like you're telling me that Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon have not looked better consistently than what we saw the Panthers
running
last
backs.
Weekend. Yeah,
sure.
no, that's what
I was talking about running game.
Clarify, I'm talking running backs because we don't have Cam Newton.
Yeah. You could get one.
Yeah.
You could get one. You could get Lamar Jackson.
Another thing I want to mention, though, before you give your prediction, the last 3 games we played were Bengals, Packers, Bears, so, I mean, that wasn't anything. But the last big opponents we played, Detroit was a shootout that we had to win on the road, but the Panthers only beat us because Cam Newton willed them to that victory. He had that big run that sealed the game. Yeah. He had, 3 touchdowns in that game. He won them that game. That's the only way the Panthers were going to win. Matt Ryan, we only kept him to 9 points. Jared Goff, we only kept him to 7 points. So Vikings defense just show up and we win the game. However, I think it'll be close, 27-24. Vikings win. We'll play the Falcons in Minnesota, NFC Championship game. Who you got?
It's tough. I mean, there's no denying how good the Minnesota Vikings defense is. Like I said, it's one of the best, if not the best defense in the NFL. But when you look at the offenses, when I compare them, I'm taking Drew Brees over Case Keenum. No one's going to be upset about that. The New Orleans Saints running game is better than the Minnesota Vikings game. Not by a ton, but by a bit. It's a little bit better. But you could push those. I would give you a push on those.
Well, I'm going more so too off of how that rushing attack looked last week against a defense that I would say is less than our defense.
Sure.
Good, but overall, less than our defense.
Yeah, sure, but overall I'm going to give them a little bit more credit. Obviously the Vikings defense is better. I think we'll get a really close game, but I can't ignore Drew Brees. If Drew Brees wants to go out there and he wants to win this game, I think he'll do it. I think he will do it. And I still think if things get rough, Teddy Two Gloves might make an appearance. They might just throw him out there and see. I honestly could see not a super high-scoring game out of this because I think that the Saints could struggle a little bit to get started, and I think a lot of their scoring will probably come towards the end of the game when things really start to get moving. And it comes to not desperation time, but when they really need to get that win. And the flip side being that I just, I don't know, Case Keenum in the playoffs, it might get to his head. Not saying it will, I'm just saying it might get to his head.
Most important position for the Vikings, there will be 2 players that I look at. Trey Waynes, Xavier Rhodes. And another reason, and this is me comparing it to last week, one of the big things that the Saints were able to target with the Panthers was, I think it was Bradbury, who's the main number 1 corner for the Panthers. They didn't do that thing where, he shadows the number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
So what was happening was, or they did, it was one of the two, but basically Michael Thomas they did. So Michael Thomas was left wide open because the next best corner for the Panthers isn't anything to write home about. It'll be a tougher matchup with, you know what? Put Ted Ginn or fucking Michael Thomas on either side. We don't even need to have them switch. We might have them switch, but Trey Wayne, Xavier Rhodes, our corners are better. So, I mean, it's going to be a tougher matchup. I'm not saying that's automatically putting us with the win. I'm just feeling a little confident heading into this one but I do think it'll be a close one. 3-point victory is what I'm going with.
I'm picking the Saints. They are my Super Bowl winner.
Just to break my heart.
After all.
You just want to break my heart.
I just believe in Drew Brees right now, and I think he can get it done. I love the run game and all that good stuff. But I'll give you the very close game, 23-21.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think down below. One interesting fact I got to read off. Adam Schefter had a tweet yesterday, which was Monday, that said the experienced versus inexperienced, the amount of playoff games, Brady has 34, Mariota has 1, Roethlisberger has 20, Bortles has 1, Matt Ryan has 9, Foles has 1, Drew Brees has 12, Case Keenum has 0. So it's basically experience versus inexperience for every single game. But let us know what you guys think down below. A little bit of housekeeping here at the end. If you like what we're doing here on the podcast, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast for $10. You could be on the podcast with Mark and I talking about whatever topic you would like to talk about. I believe it was for December we had Christian on. And, well, actually, Christian and Patrick. We both talked Bears, and then we talked Jimmy Garoppolo with Christian. So you could be on the podcast, too. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. Also, we're selling MVP t-shirts. That's all in the description. You can check that out today. Then if you're on iTunes or you have an iTunes, please go and give the Onside Kick a 5-star rating. It would mean the world to us. Then last but not least, check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. That's where everything for Most Valuable Podcast is going to be. A brand new website thanks to our patrons. So another thanks to our supporters on Patreon. Want to thank you guys for either watching, either listening. But as always, have a good day, everybody.